Mark, we're going to start with you at NASA. You want to give us an example of a program that you'd like to highlight that has been successful or not?
Well, interestingly enough, we touched on that a little bit earlier. The biggest or most striking accomplishment that, from my perspective here at NASA, has been the stand-up of our cybersecurity improvement portfolio. And the portfolio was stood up in August of 2022. Again, we broke out, all the various requirements and whatnot, and established a set of programs and initiatives to help us get to zero trust. But that's not the only thing that we have going on in regards to that. We mentioned earlier that the way in which we are reducing risk is by focusing on our corporate network, which handles, that's the A-suite level communications, the payroll, the kinds of business functions for NASA. The reason being is there's a lot less risk there if we make a mistake. And certainly, when we get our lessons learned and we understand, precisely what we want to do, and we start working with our mission folks, we want to be able to give them good, solid advice on how to pursue zero trust. Now, one of the things that I typically tell folks is that, we've got some missions today that may lend themselves well to zero trust. As we look at our Moon to Mars architecture, the more advanced kinds of technologies that are being developed, there's that opportunity to infuse zero trust. But when we look at what else is out there, it changes the calculus. So, for example, last year we had some challenges with one of our longest running missions, the Voyager 1. It failed to send back information to Earth, and the very, 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 very smart people at JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and the NASA engineers and scientists were able to figure out how to solve that problem so that spacecraft, which is in interstellar space, now think of that, this is beyond the solar system, this is out there, and it's still sending back science. And it's not just Voyager 1, it's also Voyager 2. But the Voyager 1 issue, they were able to solve it. We're now getting information from that spacecraft. Well, I don't want to be the guy that goes over and says, hey, you need to implement this piece of zero trust, and it stops sending back science forever, right? So we want to make sure that we understand the risks of what we're doing so that we don't break a mission. More importantly, we also want to make sure that we don't do something that might cause harm or potentially catastrophic outcomes for human spaceflight. So when we look at our mission side and we look at our federally funded research and development center, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, we want to make sure that we really understand what the risks are before we try and implement something. But in terms of something that's truly been a wonderful success story for us is kind of the synergy that's developed across our Office of our Chief Information Officer in terms of being able to deliver technical capabilities to the network. We're working off of a very balanced approach, trying to address all the pillars and cross-cutting capabilities somewhat simultaneously so that we don't have resources that may remain idle while we wait for others to catch up. We also have, looking at the human component or the person component, our digital transformation effort is looking at how we're improving communications across the NASA enterprise in terms of providing information on zero trust through our improved websites, training through our learning management system. We just finished a very successful cybersecurity campaign. It was our fall in love with cybersecurity, very, very heavily weighted on zero trust to get awareness across the entire NASA enterprise. And we also have our cybersecurity and privacy division. There's a team that is right now combing through all of the NASA policy instruments to make sure that we're promoting zero trust where we need to, and we're removing any kind of a speed bump where we have to. So from that perspective,
fantastic,
balanced approach. Thank you.
I love the idea